Let's get you to some other news today. In politics, that's where Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton's campaigns are both trying to capture the momentum as they head into the second presidential debate on Sunday.
Yes, another debate this coming Sunday. Trump has been praising Mike Pence's strong performance at this week's vice presidential debate, while also taking credit for it. Earlier on CBS This Morning, Governor Pence backed his running mate, saying if he won, it was all thanks to Donald Trump.
I was very humbled, very honored to be on that stage to tell the story about Donald Trump's vision to make America great again. And it was my great privilege to go out. And to be honest with you, I know some people have said that I won the debate. I'll leave that to others. But I honestly believe that Donald Trump won the debate. It was Donald Trump's vision to make America great again. It was the Donald Trump's aspirations for this country, the policies he's been articulating that I carried forward.
Well, he said it was his. He said it was his good.
I also sought to draw a contrast in this debate, and as I said, it was a privilege for me to be there.
Well, Governor Pence, he's claiming credit. He says it was his good judgment in choosing you
as his first hire.
Yeah, as his first hire. You think that's an example of good judgment? And are you giving him any pointers? People say you could give him pointers this Sunday night.
Well, I honestly, obviously, I'm very humbled by his esteem and by the kind words of others. But I think the reason why Donald Trump has built an extraordinary business, an extraordinary career, is because he has had the judgment to make it through tough times. You saw those tax releases that came out from 20 years ago. He faced enormous losses in his business. He led an incredible comeback. He did that by drawing around him women and men of extraordinary ability and enterprise. And I think it's exactly the kind of judgment and exactly the kind of people that he's going to bring around him if we have the privilege of serving in the next administration.
Jake Sherman, senior writer for Politico, is in Washington for us. Jake, thanks so much for being with us. We got to ask, 'cause a lot of people talking about this. Pence's measured debate style highlighted exactly what Trump really failed to do, or what many people said he failed to do in that first debate. When it comes to the issues, Pence contradicted several of Trump's policies. So even if, as many people are saying, Pence won the vice presidential debate, did Kaine and Clinton maybe position themselves a little bit better in the long run? Are they looking at the long game here?
Well, first of all, I don't think this moves the needle hardly at all. If anything, though, you have Pence basically on record positioning himself against Trump for future political aspirations. These kinds of debates, presidential debates, mean very little in the grand scheme of things. What we need to be watching out for is Sunday night. Is Donald Trump doing anything to prepare himself at all and turn around what's becoming a huge polling deficit, 6 points in almost every national survey? Those are only going to get worse for him unless he turns something around on Sunday night.
Jake, it's interesting, and jumping off what Jamie said, talking about the long game versus the short game. In other words, Mike Pence, a lot of people are saying, won the night. But soon after that debate ended, the Clinton campaign came out with, or the Clinton super PAC came out with an ad that essentially highlighted the things that Mike Pence said during that debate and contrasted that with the things that Donald Trump said that he would not defend, or that he actually claimed Donald Trump never said. In other words, those candidates were playing two very different games, understanding that the vice presidential debate has very little effect on how people vote. It's a way to highlight what Donald Trump has said and the lies that a lot of people say Mike Pence said on that debate stage.
I think that's right. I think that becomes an issue for Donald Trump in the long run. I think people kind of don't really care about Donald Trump's positions, unfortunately, for the electorate. I think Donald Trump is a candidate who's running on personality. His particulars on Syria or trade policy or tax policy or whether he's going to release his tax returns haven't stuck so far, and I can't imagine, just because they're contrasting what Mike Pence and Donald Trump said, I don't think that those kinds of things stick. To the extent that it creates a bad narrative and it's a longer media cycle of criticism, I think those things chip away and kind of keep him at the level that he's already at.
We have this giant hurricane, Matthew, happening right now. As we look to that, campaigning in Florida is going to be very, very difficult. Much of the Southeast will be difficult. So whoever shows up first may appear to be taking advantage of this dangerous situation once the storm is over. How does this impact, do you think, the pivotal state of Florida in particular?
I think this is a very tricky issue for both candidates. They're both lucky because neither of them are elected politicians. So if Congress had to come back into session, they don't have to wrangle over any details about funding or anything like that. But you're absolutely right. I mean, Florida is a state that's extraordinarily tight within a couple points. Hillary Clinton had planned to be down there. Donald Trump had also planned to be down there in the near future. They're going to have to walk very gingerly in the coming days and weeks. Early voting, this hurricane could, people are saying on the coast, put people out of their homes for weeks and weeks and potentially months. This storm is going through some very good counties for Republicans. I hate to put it so bluntly, but North Florida is a critical place for Republicans to get votes.
Yeah, there are clear lines in Florida for sure.
So if you the Jacksonville area is expected to get hit very hard. That's a big Republican area in Florida, and you can't forget that we are only 30-something days away from Election Day. These things do matter.
Jake, Arden Farhi, who's a political producer with CBS News, who's been traveling with the Trump campaign, has a really fascinating article on CBSNews.com. In the headline of that is Donald Trump really under audit? What kind of reporting has been done with regards to that? Because the clamor has been for him to release those tax returns. He's been saying from the very beginning that he's under audit, but I think some people are starting to question whether he actually is.
There hasn't been much reporting just because this is private information, and we're taking Donald Trump at his word. What is nearly certain is that the last 20 years aren't under audit. So if Donald Trump really wanted to, he could release tax returns from 2014 or 2013 or 2012. Obviously, those wouldn't be as telling as releasing last year's tax returns. But this is not a binary situation. Yes, he might be under audit, but there are other things he could do if he wanted to be transparent and discuss his personal financial situation that he is pointedly not doing. Now, polls show that people do care. Donald Trump has made the political calculation that that doesn't really matter. And he has said it pretty plainly. He thinks that people don't care about his tax situation. People won't learn a lot from his returns. So I think he's made his decision in 30-something days before Election Day. I don't think he's going to do anything to be more transparent on this issue, and we'll have to rely on things like the New York Times story, which they got a copy of his tax returns from 20 years ago. We'll have to rely on things like that to get a better glimpse into his personal financial situation. I will say he talks a lot about his financial disclosures, which he was required to release. Those don't say much, that you have to disclose your wealth in broad ranges, you don't have your charitable contributions listed. So he's not been very forthright about his financial situation, although he has followed the law.
He also told a room full of Nevada residents that the name of their state was pronounced Nevada. So there's that too. Jake Sherman, always good to talk to you, Jake. Thanks so much.
Thanks.